If you study history, in particular, just most recently, you look at what happened in Russia, the Russian Revolution, right? Alexander Solzhenitsyn teaches us, and history teaches us, the issue of the day was getting rid of God first in order for communism to take over. You go forward a few years later in history with Adolf Hitler. What was the first thing the Third Reich was doing? Was silencing and getting rid of the church, God, if you will. And now what we're seeing in the United States of America is the exact same thing.
Amen.
Let's get rid of God, because if you can get rid of God, if you can silence and weaken the church, then all of a sudden the satanic plan for globalism to happen around the world has a much better chance.
Sure.
The hope of America is churches filled with people that love Jesus and are being instructed by on-fire pastors.
Yeah. Wow. I couldn't have said it better myself. That's Pastor Steve Berger, ASI. We're going to talk more about him in the future, but he's a warrior out there for Jesus and for you and I. Well, that's an interesting clip, folks. That is real. We are in demonic times. There is a plan, okay, that is being strategically played against us. And we got to figure it out, and we got to battle back. But first, before we get going today, I'm going to bring in Eric Thompson. He is the producer extraordinaire. How are you, sir?
Good morning. Glad to do show number 2 with you.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's exciting times, but it's also very scary times. You heard what Steve Berger said right there. I mean, that's just, it's insanity to think that that's all true. It used to be something that you just kind of, it'd be almost conspiratorial, right? Conspiracy theory. Now it's real.
Yeah, and you know, we were talking last night, and my wife was really excited about what we're doing here, because you and I both want to find out what exactly is going on, what the truth is, and how to fix it. And the realization that God is being forced out of our country, like other previous fascist governments, is very important to discuss.
That's right, because history, folks, is doomed to repeat itself. Yep. Because we're just not learning from the past. It's because you're not getting taught. That's why you're not being shown what's happening to you and why they're doing this to you and what their game plan is and why they have this game plan. And just like Pastor Steve Berger said, it's bigger than you and I. It's bigger than the President of the United States. It's bigger than any leader, because it's demonic. You know, it's about good and evil. It's the very reason that we're alive, okay, is to battle that good and evil and hopefully one day get to heaven. But, you know, today we're going to focus in on some top of mind stuff. And Trump obviously is a very, very big story out there. Okay, you've got a lot. You've got these indictments, you know, that are there. You know, Trump to appear in federal court after special counsel indictment and classified records probe. You know, they're just the demonic world, the deep state. They are going full speed ahead, and they have to, folks, because they know Trump scared the hell out of them, or scared the hell into them. But the fact is, he absolutely was a major threat to the movement that you are feeling today. And they lost 4 years, okay, because they should have had Hillary Clinton, right? And of course, she's not being indicted. That's not happening. You have Donald Trump is being, actually, if you really look at this, you know, biblically in a sense, you look at the big picture, again, going back to what Steve Berger said, Donald Trump is being crucified right in front of you. Right in front of you. And we are supposed to believe that he's guilty as charged. Just like back in the olden days, right? Back in the time when Jesus was walking the earth and everybody was saying, you know, many people were saying how guilty he was. And even Pontius Pilate said, well, I can't see what y'all hate him for, but you know what? I'm not going to get in the way. Go ahead and do whatever you're going to do. Well, we can't be a Pontius Pilate. We have to stand in the gap. We've got to understand that there's a reason that he's being prosecuted. And plenary, I did a video yesterday on plenary power, and nobody had ever heard of that, or very few people have ever heard of it. And I put it out there, and it got some very good response because people are like, wow, plenary power. Well, that's what's going to be tested, okay? His executive power that he has, or he had as the president of the United States, that's what's going to be tested in the court system for the first time at this level in the existence of the republic. It's never happened before. And it's going to happen right now. And that's a fact. And really, that could also be the reason why he is not going to be convicted, because there's no real litmus test right now. We're in uncharted territory, how he uses plenary power. And that's what's going to be an interesting test right now. And if you didn't see that post, we'll put it up. You can go to craigbushon.com, go under watch, and you'll see it right there. And that'll explain more about plenary power. But Eric, let's talk a little bit about what Chuck Grassley, Chuck Grassley right now, he was on the Senate floor talking about Biden's $5 million bribe. Okay. These are being said on the Senate floor by the head of the Republican Party, in the Senate, saying these words. Let's play that. This is remarkable.
Let me assist for the purposes of more transparency on this subject. The 1023 produced to the House committees redacted reference that the foreign national who allegedly bribed Joe and Hunter Biden allegedly has audio recordings of his conversation with them. 17 such recordings. According to the 1023, the foreign national possesses 15 audio recordings of phone calls between him and Hunter Biden. According to the 1023, the foreign national possesses 2 audio recordings of phone calls between him and then Vice President Joe Biden. These recordings were allegedly kept as a sort of insurance policy for the foreign national in case that he got into a tight spot. The 1023 also indicates that then Vice President Joe Biden may have been involved in Bushon employing Hunter Biden. Based on the facts known to the Congress and the public, it's clear that the Justice Department, the FBI, haven't nearly had the same laser focus on the Biden family. Special Counsel Jack Smith has used a recording against former President Trump. Well, what is U.S. Attorney Weiss doing with respect to these alleged Joe and Hunter Biden recordings that are apparently relevant to the high-stakes bribery scheme?
I mean, think about that, folks. What did you just watch? And many of you hadn't even seen it because you're not going to see it. You're not going to see it on the mainstream media. You're not going to see it on Fox News. And if they did, they're not going to talk much about it. You will see it on shows like this, Just Max. You'll see about that. That's a big deal. That is the big question is that a lot of people are asking and they're noticing this two-tiered justice system, that they actually live in a country now that's no longer, these leaders are no longer hiding. The Biden administration, the Department of Justice is no longer hiding how this two-tiered justice system works. They don't care. Okay? And it is good that Chuck Grassley is bringing this up, but they need to bring it up more, and they need to turn up the volume because it's going to be overshadowed by all the other noise that's out there. Okay. And it's because these people have an agenda. And Chuck Grassley, you could argue is really part of that deep state as well. He's kind of walking this line that is he's treading on thin ice, as they say. At one side, he's got to stick with the old guard, and the other side, he can't look like he's sticking with the old guard. And Donald Trump is sitting there. I mean, quite frankly, folks, Donald Trump is the best way to explain it. He's like the modern day Moses to the 70, 80 million people that are out there that are saying, the more you indict him, the more we're going to vote for him. Because that's what's happening right now, right? I mean, what are the stats right now, Eric? We were just looking at the stats. The amount of people that are voting or say they're going to vote for Donald Trump has went up tremendously. Here we go, CBS poll, by the way. 38 points. His lead grows 38 points after indictment. Well, why is that? Why is it? Well, it's for the same reason. And again, I'm going to draw this reference from the olden days, to Moses and then to Donald Trump. And I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again because we are in demonic times, just like Steve Berger said. And we are in a time that we have to draw the connection. We have to connect the dots. What does the old days, the old times, the old scripture have to do with now? Right? Now that we're in the light. Well, it has everything to do with it because we're in a fight right now. Donald Trump is 61% in the last poll amongst likely voters for the Republican Party. He's at 61%. DeSantis is at 23%. And it keeps going up the more they indict him. It's because they see him. These people, these Israelites of today, if you will, see their Moses being crucified. They can't even get to the desert. They can't even get across the sea. They are being stopped before that can happen. So right now, we're in that battle. We're in that fight. And it's going to be very, very hard to win this fight if we're not united. And the enemy is seeing, and they're going to get more boisterous, and they're going to push even harder because they see. You say to yourself, "Well, why does the Republican Party see that the more they push on Donald Trump, the more people are circling the wagons around Trump? And if they see it, why do they keep doing it?" Well, part of it could be because they don't care, for sure. But also, they may think they have it rigged so much it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many people show up to vote because a vote isn't going to count. Oh, my gosh, you said it, Craig. What a conspiracy that is. A lot of these people believe that the last election was as corrupt as all get out and that no matter how many votes Trump got, which is record number, by the way, Trump had a record number of people, a record number vote for him. More than any time in the history of the Republic. But somehow, Biden beat him by millions. And 15 million or so over what Obama got in the prior election that Biden won, the last one, Biden 2.0. Excuse me, Obama 2.0. So this is what sits in the back of people's minds of why they don't give up. They know that they are under attack. And that connects the dot to when you look at these polls and you look at this indictment and you look at what's going on with plenary power and you look at all the things that are happening and you say to yourself, oh my gosh, it's over. You go on to Fox News and the Fox legal specialist now says, oh, this looks bad. Shapiro said it. I was watching some clip from Shapiro. Same thing.
Even Ted Cruz just chimed in on Twitter that having reviewed the specifics of the indictment against Trump, it's pretty underwhelming, though. That's a good news for Trump.
Yeah. Where's the difference? Ted Cruz, former Solicitor General for the state of Texas. He
constitutional expert.
Absolute constitutional expert. He is top tier.
Yep.
He can recite the Constitution, by the way, folks. Every word. Every word. All right. And so when he reviews it versus these other talking heads review it and say, oh, we read it. Doesn't look good. Doesn't look good. But what they're not telling you is what plenary power is. Okay. And what Ted Cruz I believe is alluding to is that's pretty underwhelming, because what's not been tested and what we're going to find out is that the president has a lot more power when it comes to these documents than they're letting you on to believe. And that's dangerous, by the way, because let's just think about this for a minute, folks. Let's just really sit back and think about this. On the day that the president of the United States is going to leave office, and they got all the boxes and all that, is there anybody there? Does the White House just go, hey, it's your last day, it's your last few days, your last week, we're going to step out of the room, you kind of box up what you want to box up, and then we'll be back, and you can and we'll figure out later what you took, because it's years later now, folks. So national security wise, are we supposed to believe that that's what happens? That they actually that nobody's there? That these papers don't get filtered by anybody? They can just walk out. They go, oh well, oops, I think he's taking some top secret stuff that's national security. Where is it? I mean, come on. I mean, it's laughable to think that. And another thing on top of all of this, folks, is look at it this way. The president of the United States, I don't care who it is, they have plenary power. Again, go watch the plenary power video I did yesterday, and you'll bring you full circle on that. Biden and Pence have no plenary power at all. Zero. None. And they have top secret documents. And this is what I hear from the bloviators. Well, you know, the Democrats go, well, as soon as they found out, he gave them back. I mean, as soon as they found out and asked for all the things that he illegally took, he just gave them right back. Oh, okay. So let's also look at it this way. Let's just say that Trump had very nefarious things he wanted to do. And he somehow, some way took these top secret documents and stuck them in boxes, and the aides carried them out. Nobody could see. There's no cameras. Nobody knows where these documents are at. They just are taken, and nobody knows. And then he doesn't do anything but stick them in his bathroom. That's what he does. He sticks them in his bathroom, and he sticks them in his closet, and he just keeps them there for like some future nefarious reason. Well, here, folks, let's just really think about this. The damage would already be done. As soon as those papers left, it would have got to who it needed to get to, because they're not going to wait years. Okay, there's something else going on. Because in that case, all those top secret things that were sitting in Biden's garage, the people who wanted to see it already have. So really critically think this, folks. Use deductive reasoning. How on God's earth does the former president of the United States, presidents, plural, how are they able to get this stuff out and nobody knows? And then it's a big oops. Oh, man. I mean, Eric, does that make sense or not make sense? How does it nobody think that we're not getting our mind? It's like we have, what are they teaching at Harvard and Yale and Princeton? Why are we not talking about these obvious things that absolutely shows how ridiculous this whole argument is, and we're charging the wrong person? I mean, really, we should be charging these people who had no plenary powers.
Yeah, Harvard professor Alan Dershowitz even said that this is a non-case, because this is a non-issue because of the Presidential Records Act. So this is a non-issue, except it's Donald Trump. And I've got Cruz pulled up here on Twitter explaining why, after reviewing the case, he doesn't see much. So here's Ted.
The last podcast we did on Friday, we did it right after news of the indictment broke, but the indictment wasn't public. What has changed between then and now is we now have the indictment, so we can see specifically what they brought. I will say now, having reviewed the specific indictment, it's pretty underwhelming. There's not a lot of there. We talked quite a bit before the indictment about how I believed it was extremely likely that the Department of Justice was going to indict Donald Trump. that Merrick Garland, I believe, wants to indict Donald Trump. I think he came into office wanting to indict and to prosecute Donald Trump. But we also talked about the problem that he couldn't just base it on the classified documents because it so happened just about everyone else did the same damn thing. Well, the last podcast we did on
that is what you were saying, is that everybody treats the documents this way, so Garland couldn't base his case off of that, but Garland apparently is going to.
It's because there's no precedence. My point is, folks, that's exactly right, Eric. And Ted Cruz, God bless you for doing that. And what's also, you talked about Dershowitz. You know, Dershowitz said that Cruz was his smartest pupil ever.
Yep.
So this is the wheelhouse for Ted Cruz. No doubt about it. And there's no precedence, folks. There's no precedence for what's happening right now. There's no place for them to go and say, well, you know, in the past, this is why it's illegal right here because this person did it in the past and they were prosecuted for it. And no, there's no precedence for this at all. So just like Dershowitz said, he's got this power. It all comes from plenary power, by the way, folks. It's so important to understand the foundation of the power of the President of the United States, even down to executive orders and all that, comes from his plenary power. And you need to know more about that because that's the basis of every executive order that's out there can be done that's treated like law, though it's not law. Okay? But it's enforced like law. So it's a quasi law in a sense. It's going to be a law or it could be a rule that's held up like a law until it gets tested in court. It needs a victim because the courts need victims. You know, it's hard to defend against no victims. So now there's victims, and now we're going to find out what's happening. So Donald Trump right now is a victim because he's been charged, even though he has plenary power, and he's now going to be out there in front of us. So now you're going to really now it's very important to understand. I mean, there was the judge, it's a different judge now, Eric, right? There's last minute, folks, breaking news. We got to have a new judge on the case. Magistrate to preside over Trump's arraignment, not controversial judge Aileen Cannon. Now, why is she controversial? Because she was put in there by Trump? Is that what the argument is, Eric?
Yeah, she actually she agreed with his legal team that a special master should review the documents to determine which ones the FBI could keep and could not keep. And because of that, that makes her a radical that was appointed by Trump. And she is going outside the law just to try to protect Trump. So they freaked out that she was randomly chosen to overhear the hearing today. And so the wheels of non-justice kicked in, and she was replaced by an Obama appointee. Jonathan Goodman will now be overhearing the case, not U.S. District Judge Aileen Cannon, even though she was chosen.
That's right, and that's obviously a Obama judge.
Yep, 2007.
Okay, so all right. So the wheels of justice are turning, round and around it goes, okay? And a lot of people say there's no way out, Craig. There's no way out. He's going to be convicted because there's no way out. And it's twisted politics. And the DOJ's been weaponized. And look at Chuck Grassley said, we opened up the show with that. We opened the show with Steve Berger. Then we go right into Grassley. Then you go into Ted Cruz, and you go into what's going on with, how his situation is being manipulated and to be twisted and squeezed. You know, they're trying to put this square, this box into a round hole. Okay. And so what do we do about it, right? Okay, now we know. Okay, well, the big thing you do right now first is you don't stop watching. You got to pay attention. You got to watch. You have to dig. And I know it's hard. That's why we do the show. We do the show, and we put everything up on CraigBushonShow.com because you need to be able to go back when you have time and watch this in 5-minute segments, 20-minute segments, whatever it is. You got to but you got to watch. You got to pay attention, okay?
And Trump had a few comments. Yeah, Trump had a few comments about this. If you want to watch,
oh yeah, absolutely. That's right. Trump. Let's hear what Trump has to say about this. Let's just see if we can get this full vision of what's going on right now. Go right ahead. Let's do it.
I want to thank Michael and congratulations on your re-election as party chairman. That was a big deal. That was a big deal. It's great to be back in North Carolina. Very special place. Very, very special place. We've had tremendous success here. We won it twice. We won the primaries twice. We won the election twice. It was great. Sit down. Come on, we'll be with each other. We have nothing else to do tonight. I also want to thank our outstanding NRCC chairman. Where is the chairman? Richard Hudson. Where's the chairman? Come on, Richard, stand up. We just got back from Georgia, and he's even a celebrity in Georgia. We had a great crowd in Georgia, too. He's fourth in line for Speaker, and his wonderful wife, Renee, is incredible. And she served 4 years, actually, in the White House as Kellyanne. Is anyone here of Kellyanne Conway? Nobody, right? She's so fantastic. But thank you, and thank the family. Your family is fantastic. We appreciate it. Thanks also to one of the great stars of the party, one of the great stars in
I'm going to speed it forward a little bit. I didn't know he was going to do all these.
Yeah,
no,
that's good.
But you can count on it, Mark. Congratulations. Great job. You've been doing a fantastic job. We also have some warriors that we fight together with all the time, and we win a lot. We win most of the time. Representatives Dan Bishop. Where's Dan? Dan? Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Dan. Thank you very much. Great job. Great job. We love him. Chuck Edwards. Chuck. Thank you, Chuck. Thank you. Thank you very much. And State House Speaker Tim Moore. Because with the right leader, you saw that just 3 years ago, we have the right leader. All of those countries are absolutely no threat. They're not any threat to us. We talked about it before. Right now, however, they're putting us in the most dangerous position in the history of our country. We've never been in a position like this. There's never been such danger. It's because of the weaponry, the power of the weaponry. And we have people that have no clue. We have people in office that have no clue. Together we stand up to the globalists. We stand up to the Marxists. We stand up to the rhinos, because they're very bad. Because you don't know where they're coming from, the rhinos, you don't know where they're coming from. We stand up to the communists and the environmental extremists, because I'm an environmentalist. I really believe that. We've done some great things for the environment, but you have extremists, and you don't know whether or not they're really serious about some of this stuff. It's not even believable. We stand up to the open borders fanatics destroying our country, the radical left Democrats, their lawless partisan prosecutors, and the fake news media. We have a lot of it back there, but not all of them are fake.
Well, okay, let's stop it there. Stop it there. Okay, let's watch this. Okay, there's enough said right there. All right. Globalists.
The border.
This guy, the border, the big corporations, what he did in BlackRock, ESG, okay? You need to understand, folks, that the situation at hand is that the strategy that's being used is all on purpose, and it's specific and it's exact, and there's no accidents. There's no accidents. There's no coincidences at all. None. Everything you see is methodically being done to destroy the republic, because we are the last stand that there is in the United States. The United States of America is the last place. If this domino falls, okay, it's over. And that's not to be, I'm not blowing it out of proportion, folks. We are we're the stopgap. We're it. That's why our founders gave us this republic, okay? They gave us this republic and the separation of powers for moments just like this, to make it very, very, very hard for tyrants to get into power, to remove you and I, we the people, from having this country of ours, not theirs. But the world is upside down, okay? The power that has been given to us as people is gigantic in the representative republic. Fact. So what Trump's talking about there is he's talking about how they're destroying, and he's not saying it, he should say this, folks are coming after the Republic. He has said, look, it's not about me, it's about you. They're not coming after me for just because of me. They're going after me because they want you, right? So in a sense, Trump is standing in between them and us. And you're watching it in real time right now. So we have got to get to work. So what do? Well, like Steve Berger said, the churches have a job to do. And we're going to focus on the churches. Man, every show, and Eric, I don't know how we want to flow into that, but we need to have the specific segment on Christianity, because that's the fight, folks. That's the real war that we're in. And for us as citizens, it gets very frustrating, because you're like, well, what do I do about it? How can I got to go to work. I've got my kids. I have to pay my bills. Everything's more expensive. Everything is more expensive. And I could say that is on purpose as well, because you need to be stressed out. Heck, you can't go to McDonald's and get a Big Mac meal that's not $10, $12 anymore. So even the poorest among us who used to be able to go get dollar cheeseburgers can't do it anymore. Everything is more expensive. It's about weakening our society, folks. So how do you push back? Well, the biggest way to push back is get engaged. What the politicians don't want you to do is pay attention. They don't want you to watch this show. They don't want you to go to AmericaICan.com. They don't want you to do that. They don't want you to get engaged. They don't want you to team up. They don't want you to become one powerful unit that they can fear. They don't want that. It's a death of 1,000 cuts. They want to fragment you. They've invaded the church. Okay? They've invaded the sanctuary that we're supposed to have, and the freedoms that we have in this country, the liberty that we have, that our founders gave us. They've infiltrated all of those things, all of those places, while you've been trying to survive. And it's getting harder and harder. You want to get a half a gallon of Bluebell ice cream? It's $10. $10. That's so you can have less money in your bank account, so you can become an eventual ward of the state. They want more and more people on the food stamps, but don't worry about it. It's a credit card now. It just swipes like a card. The irony, isn't that true? You don't have to go through the book like you used to have to do and be embarrassed when you're sitting there, no. All of this is connected. All of it. It's like there's rabbit holes everywhere. Stay out of the rabbit holes, Craig. No, that's where they're at. They're hiding in all the rabbit holes. That's the problem. We have to go in and get them out. We have to extract them. It's like battling a cancer. You got to get it all. And then you got to nuke it, right? Isn't that what it is? Isn't that why people do chemotherapy, right? And it's a reference, that's an actual fact. This country is a body, it's a unit, it's a union, and it's being destroyed from the inside out, the outside in, like Van Jones talked about. There's bringing up a name, Eric. Van Jones.
Yep.
He is the old green czar, folks, under the Obama administration.
Communist.
An absolute communist. But you can see him on CNN. Of course you can. Communist News Network, Top down, bottom up, inside out is what he used to say. Top down, bottom up, inside out. Well, that's outside influences like ESG, the World Bank, LEAF, LEAF. Oh, we're going to talk about that. Oh, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about BlackRock. We're going to have a show specifically on those outside forces that are coming through the banking industries and through ESG and BlackRock and the housing industry and your loans and small businesses, how they're being eradicated from the United States of America. All those things are happening in real time. So, again, what do we do about it? Well, as we learn through the show, and as we learn together, and as we investigate and we get in the weeds and put our snorkel on and we get down in the swamp and search these creatures out, we're also going to go to AmericaICan.com. AmericaICan.com and sign the oath and get engaged, get involved. It's a growing movement that has to happen. And we are going to battle back together. We cannot do this alone. We have to do this together. And AmericaICAN.com, you can read about it there. It's absolutely going to bring us together. It's going to give us the ability to battle back. And it's the place where we go as American citizens and go together. We lock arms and we push back. And we'll win, folks. We will win. But there is going to be collateral damage. It's already there. It's already started. The national debt. Do we have the national debt clock?
Yeah, let me pull it back up here.
Do we need to take a break? Do we have people that need to, do we just talk about the Cost Club? There's a lot of things, folks, you need to know about. Should we take a break and play some of the stuff so people can go to the Cost Club and see what's going on there? And Spreely.tv.
I think those got wiped out by the update,
by the update.
That's okay, right? Let's find our little clock here. There you go. Real time. Here we go. Real time. Here's the real state of our nation.
Look at that.
Here.
Christmas colors. Look at that. It's green and red. What is that? Almost 32 trillion?
Yeah. So as the nation is watching Garland, which Ted Cruz said, there's no way he would have. Oh, actually, he did go into office, become the AG specifically to target Trump. While the nation is financially going over the cliff, they are pursuing a bogus case against, first time ever filing a felony charge against the former president.
Yeah, to imprison him, by the way. But you look at the clock, folks. I mean, look at that. Oh my God, look at the colors. I mean, look, that's just, it's fantastic. That's how they're spending your money right now. What does each citizen own? I can't see it on my screen here.
$248,542 for each taxpayer. So $250,000 for each taxpayer we owe in debt, or each citizen $95,272.
And that includes all children, right?
Yep, every single person.
Baby that's born. Hey, remember this, folks?
$96,000.
$96,000. You little sweet little baby in your.
Welcome to the world, Junior.
Guy. And soon it'll be $100,000. And what do you get for it? Well, you get debt, and you get more debt. And that is the plan, folks. The plan is to break your bank. Just that simple. And then they can have, it sounds so nuts to say this, but it's just so true. Then they have their new world order, right? They have their great reset. That's what it's all about. What was that, 1971, I believe it was?
That's when the World Economic Forum. I have a video here if you wanna get the gist of why COVID took place. Here is what happened.
Let's do it.
Our generation.
Now is the time to think what history would say about this crisis.
2020 has been challenging on a lot of levels, as economic, environmental, and societal frailties have been laid bare. But it's also proved that when we need to, we can act rapidly and restructure our lives.
The recovery from the pandemic is an opportunity. We can see rays of hope in the form of a vaccine, but there is no vaccine for the planet. Nature needs a bailout.
You don't want to go back to the status quo that you had before simply because it was the status quo that got us here.
With everything falling apart, we can reshape the world in ways we couldn't before. Ways that better address so many of the challenges we face. And that's why so many are calling for a great reset. A great reset? That sounds more like buzzword bingo masking some nefarious plan for world domination. Hands up, this kind of slogan hasn't gone down well. But all we really want to say is that we all have an opportunity to build a better world. And it's not surprising that people who've been disenfranchised by a broken system and pushed even further by the pandemic will suspect global leaders of conspiracy. But the world's not that simple. Every one of us has differing priorities, values, and ideas. That's part of why solutions are so hard to come by, and why we all need to be involved in the decision-making. Because whether it's politicians, CEOs, academics, activists, or you, we're all about getting people together, even those you may not like, to sit down at the table and develop solutions that work for all of us. But
We need enormous trust between the private sector and the public sector for this to actually work. That trust is hard to come by.
It's time for people to work together, listen to each other, and build this trust so we can move towards a better world. And we really need one. Because while the pandemic affects us all, it's clear it affects some more than others.
The first people who are hit are the people at the front, those who are vulnerable. It is those on the front line who take it first, and that is simply unacceptable.
See, at the start of 2020, 1% of the world's population owned 44% of the wealth. And since the start of the pandemic, billionaires have increased theirs by more than 25%, whilst 150 million people fell back into extreme poverty. And with climate change set to dwarf the damage caused by the pandemic, the message from 2020 should be abundantly clear.
Capitalism, as we know it, is dead.
That is the whole point of this video. Capitalism is dead. The world needs a great reset. And the World Economic Forum started in 1971, the year that Nixon kicked us off. The gold standard is the only hope for mankind. And Biden, Gavin Newsom, Macron, and Trudeau are big proponents of the Great Reset.
Absolutely. So think about that, folks. Think about when we talk about the Great Reset, what is it? It's about the destruction. It is said capitalism is dead. Well, let's think about that for a minute. Capitalism is dead. Well, the irony in all of this is they're using capitalistic means to get power so they can convince you that capitalism is dead. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's look at some of the players in this. BlackRock. Let's just see how they play into the capitalist world to create tremendous wealth so they could turn around and use it to destroy you and I. How about housing? How about right now as we sit here today that BlackRock is teamed up with builders who are building communities that look just like residential communities that are just they're houses with garages and they have their little pool-lit community center there with the pool and all that, but they're all rentals. Every one of them are rentals. And that's what, hey, so what? Someone say, hey, so what? Some people want to rent a house. Okay, they can rent a house. But that's not where it ends. They want to keep building these subdivisions. They want to have more of these and less of homes you get to buy. Okay, so what's happening? I spoke to a builder that did not want to come on the record for obvious reasons, that is building a subdivision right now, and he said that when they're done building it, they'll hold it for about 2 years, maybe 3 years, and they're selling it to BlackRock. Huh. Then they're selling it to BlackRock. Capitalism. BlackRock is using capitalism. In this case, they're building a crony capitalism. Okay. They're not going by the laws of capitalism. They're being very nefarious. Okay. They have they've strategically intertwined themselves even into your 401k, folks. So you got the housing industry. That's one. Don't want you to own a home. They don't want you to own a car. Electric cars, folks. Hey, Eric, we're going to do an entire, I want to do a 30-minute mini broadcast on electrification of automobiles, period. Because that right there is like a nuclear bomb dropped into the U.S. economy and the global power that we have because of the petrodollar, okay? And guess who's behind that? Well, imagine who. The spooky dude company, like Soros is, the spooky dude man, like Glenn Beck used to say, is BlackRock. BlackRock is doing everything they can to intertwine. They have a mutual fund called LEAF, L-E-A-F. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to do a mini special just on LEAF. Because you're going to go, just how you didn't know what plenary power is, you don't know what LEAF is. It sure sounds nice. Is that the little Nissan car that only drove 50 miles on a charge? No, it's better than that. It's LEAF. It's LEAF. It's oh, here it is. Are we pulling it up? I don't know if we're pulling it up, but LEAF.
If you go to the World Economic Forum, these are the corporate business partners with the World Economic Forum, including Bank of America, Chase. All of the American financial institutions are partners with the World Economic Forum under the direction of BlackRock.
That's right.
So if you go to weforum.org if you want to get this information. It's not a conspiracy. 1971, the World Economic Forum started. 2000, they rolled out the Great Reset using COVID as their justification for taking control of the world.
That's right. Well, they have to. It's just like Saul Alinsky's rules for radicals, right?
Yep.
You can't let any tragedy go to waste. And a tragedy, and if you look back in 1971, what was the tragedy? The Vietnam War. Okay, and there's a whole lot around that too, right? You also in that same era had Woodstock, drugs, sex, rock and roll, bunch of flower kids going, "Hey, I love everybody." Rage Against the Machine, and then Roe v. Wade. What, 1973? Roe v. Wade?
Yep.
That was a huge reset against the values of the United States of America, folks. Brought to you by people like Saul Alinsky. What a great, great guy. That's right, Saul Alinsky. Rules for Radicals. If you haven't read the book, you need to, because that's what's being used against you as well. Okay, and he teamed up, guess where? In the inner cities with the, in the community centers and the churches, and got them to say, hey, wouldn't it be better for your society if you had less children? It's less burden, right? Yeah. It's kind of sad. Yeah, this next statement. My daughter, who watches the show, and she was, watched me years ago when I was on air, and she goes, Dad, smile, have a good time. And I'm trying, I promise. How about this? Look, we're going to have fun in the show, but I'm telling you, there's not a lot of stuff to be fun and happy about, but we're going to find them, and we're going to play them. We're going to have a good time. We'll have some jokes, and I might even sing for you. Maybe I won't. But listen, I promised you that you'll learn, and you are. What have you learned so far today? Leaf? Interesting. What BlackRock's doing in detail. The housing industry, the banking industry, that's ESG, environmental social governance, folks, is a weapon, okay, of mass destruction being used against you. And right now it's being used against the companies, ESG, Target, Budweiser, even Chick-fil-A. My God, we want to sell chicken to everybody. I get it. You should sell chicken to everybody. I'm not telling you that you shouldn't sell chicken to the market, but what you say means something, okay? And your values, just like Hobby Lobby. I don't know where Hobby Lobby is on this, but we're going to see. But look, folks, I promised you that I would not just get you upset and leave you hanging. Go to americaican.com. Sign up. Sign the oath. Coming this Friday, Saturday the latest, you'll be able to go in. We'll know who you are. Give us your email. We'll send you an email and tell you, here's the plaque you can get. It's one that you can barely see on the wall. I have to fix that, but that's laser etched. That's one version. We have like 4 different versions. There you go, americaican.com. You go to the oath. See the citizen oath right there. The citizen oath. And you go right there and you sign it. And if you're on your tablet, you can sign it. If you're on your smartphone, you can sign it. If you have a touchscreen on your computer, I don't think you can sign it. You're going to click down where it has a little keyboard, and you're going to just type your name in, and it'll sign it and put your signature on there. All right? And then here's some of the plaques right here. But that's not, it's almost there. And you're going to be able to get that plaque. What is it? How much is that plaque? What does it say? $43.99. Beautiful laser etched, and it'll look great hanging on your wall. But what also does it do? We're building a very, very strong group of like-minded Americans. We are going to help the MAGA team. We're going to help the Tea Party. We invite them to join us as we join them, okay? And we're going to get out, and we're going to take the show on the road, and we're going to talk to you. We're going to showcase what's going on in this country, the good, bad, and the ugly, and the exciting, and the fantastic. Think of it for those folks who are watching that are my age or older. Charles Kuralt, On the Road with Charles Kuralt. The young folks are going, what's he talking about? How about Mike Rowe? Okay, Dirty Jobs. It's a mixture of that as well. That's exciting. That's coming. But you can go to americaican.com. You can get engaged. And then we're going to go to the politicians, and they're going to sign it too. Can you pull up the oath itself? Pull up the oath right there. There it is right there. Go ahead and read that to the folks, Eric. What is it? What does a citizen oath / pledge say?
I solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of a citizen of the United States of America. If the candidate I vote for is found to have broken their oath, I will work to remove them from office by impeachment or repeal, so help me God.
And there you have it. Is that similar? That's very similar to the oath that you took as a Marine and I've taken when I was heavily involved in the Republican Party. And we added to the end those words. Now let's go to the candidate oath / politician oath, because even the ones that are in office are going to sign this as well, folks. All right. Let's read what that one says. Well, it's all the same up until the end. Kind of skip to the end and see and read what it says, Eric.
Oops, this is the citizen one. We want to get
There's the candidate oath right there.
All right, so theirs ends. Well, it says citizen again, but
let's go back.
Okay, here we go. Candidate oath.
There you go.
Right here. Well, we'll finish it here. Okay.
Yes.
So at the end, it is saying, if I am found, this is a candidate speaking, if I am found to have broken this oath, I expect to be removed from office by my electorate. So help me God.
That's right. That's right. See how the dots connect, folks? We're going to connect you and me, the American citizen.
Accountability.
The American, the accountability for us, right? We have a job. Eric, is it fair that we have a job to do as citizens?
We do. It's our republic, right?
Okay. And that's
we
fine.
The people.
That's okay. You know, and we're going to do it. And it's just a reminder. That's all it is, a reminder. You can hang it on your wall. You could print it off and put it in your wallet or your purse. It's just a reminder with your pocket constitution that it's got to be there, folks. And then the candidate, when they sign it, you know, we're going to give them a lapel pin. We're going to give them something that's going to show they can wear, and they can put on their website as well, that they signed the same oath. They signed the oath that says you are going to hold them accountable, and they expect to be held accountable. And that's powerful, folks. So that's what it is. Because they're not going to worry about, look, the politicians, you know, fear is a very, 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 that is their kryptonite is the best way to put it. The kryptonite that you carry is when you show up, and they fear the hell out of that. They do not want you to show up at all, because then they got to do their job. So we're going to show up, and it's not at teachers union, fine, whatever. The NRA, great member, lifetime member, great. The UAW, auto workers, policemen, those are all great, whatever. And people need to be a part of some of those, and some I think need to go away, like the teachers union. That needs to go. But the whole point of those is that they carry power, they carry weight. So when they show up, you know, hey, wait a minute, the teachers union's here. Oh my God. Well, when American shows up and American walks in the room, make no mistake, folks, they're going to pay attention, because there's going to be 100 million of us, and we're going to show up, and we're going to hold them accountable. Okay. And that's how it works. That's a representative republic. And as we start ending the show here, Rudy Giuliani is also a big, I mean, he's supposed to be a criminal as well. Isn't that right, Eric? Aren't they saying that the deep state saying that Rudy Giuliani needs to go to prison as well?
Oh, sure.
And, but doesn't he's battling back though, isn't he? Isn't he pushing back?
Well, yeah. Well, there's an article out to Rudy was on with Steve Bannon, And remember, he was given access to Hunter's content on his laptop. And he's just reminding the world and the Biden administration and the AG that there are for the chief Burisma accountant, the one that would have seen all of the illegal money flowing, and 4 of our colleagues are willing to testify of the Biden's corruption.
Yes.
That's why they've been trying to destroy Rudy Giuliani.
Of course.
He has all the goods, and they were hoping he would quietly go away, but he's back.
He's back. Hey, folks, look, they're going to destroy everything in their path. The enemy, the deep state, the Black Rocks, the Vanguards, you pick it, folks. There's a laundry list.
Here's a little video of the interview. If it's too long, I'll cut it.
Here we go. Excellent. Let's hear this. On Steve Bannon. He needs to go to jail, too, you know.
Well, yeah, because
they've confirmed that
they want him to go.
Shrinking your
3 hitters in a row. Rudy, America's mayor. I've got Garrett Ziegler, Marco Polo with this... the feral dogs of the Biden crime family, the website. And I've got Posobiec and Jack Posobiec on his way to his Pulitzer Prize because Posobiec called it all weekend on, and if we put when he comes up, put the CNN headline, economists, everybody worried, all the globalists worried about the Ukraine, quote unquote, spring offensive. Jack Posobiec told you exactly what was happening all weekend. Of course, CNN admits today 17 armored vehicles, their armored column destroyed by the Russians. We'll get into all that because it's all inextricably linked. The Biden crime family, Ukraine, the billions of dollars we're shipping over there, Zelensky. It's all of a piece, as we say, and we're going to break it down all for you. We're going to start with America's mayor. Mayor Giuliani, I just want to make sure you and Bob Costello had this information. What you're hearing about now, we have Nancy Mace coming in and Stefanik and these people saying, hey, I'm looking at 1023s. I'm looking at SARS reports over the Treasury. They won't let me have any of this. These were the things that you guys had, or information related to that yes. You went to that you were talking to U.S. attorneys back, and I think in January 2020, you're presenting this information. And I thought it was either North Carolina or Pittsburgh to a U.S. attorney making a case. Walk us through that and the details of that, sir.
Well, there's a whole background to it, and we knew about it even well before that. But the ultimate thing is we are told through the Deputy Attorney General that Bill Barr wants us to present this evidence to the U.S. attorney in Pittsburgh because he wants to spread it out to different U.S. attorneys to evaluate, how credible it is and whatever. So we set up a meeting with the U.S. attorney and the FBI in Pittsburgh. And they were very well represented. They had about 10 people there, about 5, the U.S. attorney, his people, some people from Justice, and also people from the FBI. Certainly from the local office, I can't tell you the Washington office. 10 of them, though, 5 assistant U.S. attorneys, the U.S. attorney, and the head agent. And we were scheduled for an hour and a half. We were there 5 hours. We brought a very, very, it was not even an outline. I mean, it was a 100-page outline, so it was a report, really. We did it with, we went over each one in great detail. The 1 hour and a half meeting ended up to be 5 hours. They were intensely interested. I mean, our other experience with Justice up until then, not to bore you with it, we would just get blown away. They had no interest in investigating Biden. And but this group was enormously excited. I don't want to pretend it was just this, but there was one very extraordinary piece of evidence. We had a woman in Ukraine who was the chief accountant for Burisma, the wife of the former partner of Mykola Zlochevsky, who owned Burisma and is the major crook who was paying off the Bidens. And she wanted to turn. She wanted to testify. But to testify, she wanted to be in the witness protection program. And she had 4 colleagues of hers who were willing to testify and support her. She claimed that over an 8-year period, she supervised all of the offshore illegal bank accounts. All the money laundering went through her. Now, we weren't sure she was telling the truth, but we did have one transaction that I had gotten very early of a complete money laundering transaction for $14 million, some of which went through to Joe Biden, with an indication that Joe got $900,000 of it, and his family got a total of about $3 million of it.
So can you?
I mean, yeah. I mean,
look, 14 million for the Bidens and 4 million for the Bidens, and people are willing to say something, and the DOJ says, yeah, let's skip this one.
That's right.
Not important.
Joe Biden. We got how much time we got left? We're going over about a minute here right now, so we're gonna finish this up right now, folks. But I'll tell you, is this a coincidence? Every single person that's pushing back heavy needs to go to jail, according to the Department of Justice or these Soros attorney generals in some of these states. Who do you have? Or they got to be removed off the networks. So who do you got pushing back? Well, Trump, obviously, he's got to go to prison. You got Bannon, absolutely, he needs to go to prison. You have Giuliani, he's pushing back, he needs to go to prison.
Roger Stone?
Yeah, Roger Stone, 100%, he has to go to prison. And then you have Tucker Carlson, he's in media prison, right? And he just happens to have the richest person on earth trying to help him, and he's going to help him, and he's not going to be quiet, and that's going to be interesting. We're going to see who has more money, Fox or Musk. That's what we're going to find out and see, because he's not going to go away. But they want him in media prison, and we could go on and on and on, folks. So look, the forest is among us. It's right in front of us, and I can see the trees. It's all there. It's all right in front of us. So now we're going to navigate this forest, folks. We're going to do this together. We've learned quite a few things today. Eric, can we cut this up in some segments, kind of showing, maybe focusing on a few things so people can digest it? They can watch the whole show, but then we'll divide it up in 3 or 4 or 5 different segments that we'll put out there. Does that sound
sure.
fair?
Yeah, stick it up on your YouTube page or on Spreely Video or Twitter or social media platforms. Yeah.
Perfect. Because, folks, I understand your day. It's hard. It's very, very hard. So share this out with everyone you know. Go to AmericaICan.com. Go to CraigBushonShow.com. Get engaged. Reach out to us. Soon we'll have open up where you're going to be able to chime in on the show. Okay? Exciting time, folks. I'm excited about it. We gotta know that we got work to do, and we're going to do it together, and we're going to win, folks. Rush Limbaugh is in heaven looking down, helping us as well. He's going to channel himself through us to help get that word out, because the bottom line is, folks, we are all in this together, and together, united, we will win. God bless, and we will see you soon.